What's up, guys? Welcome back to RGBtv. I am your host, Andy Gutierrez, with my co-host, Jonathan Gutierrez, and today we will be talking about Nazi Venya! We don't even need to preface the name of the film, The Lion King. So, Jonathan, we are here today to review the 2019 live-action adaptation of The Lion King. Directed by Jon Favreau.
Yes.
So, let's start with your thoughts. What did you think of this film?
Okay. I was bored.
Thanks for watching, guys. That wraps up our thoughts.
No joke, I was bored. I didn't really like it. I was very disappointed. At most, the best I can say about this movie is that it was a whopping okay.
High praise. A whopping okay.
A whopping okay, dude.
Okay.
That's it.
First off, when the first trailers for this movie came out, it was basically, it let you know right off the bat that this was just going to be a scene-for-scene remake of the original 1995 classic that we all know and love. The first trailer shows Rafiki holding up Simba and all of Pride Rock and all the animals standing around doing their usual to the Nazi Venya and whatever song, right? But they didn't show, at least for the first couple of trailers, they did not show any scenes with any of the animals actually speaking to each other. I don't know if you noticed that or not. There was no dialogue throughout any of the other trailers. They did not show any of the characters actually speaking. You hear Mufasa's voice.
There's like a voiceover, but you
don't see them speaking. Yeah. Okay. So that right there was my first red flag about this movie. I thought, you know what? I'm not sure this movie's gonna be so good. The animation, let's start off saying the visuals are amazing in the film. I think we'd agree.
I think that would be the one positive thing about this movie, in my opinion, is that the visuals are amazing.
Right.
There were some moments when I thought that they might have cheated and recorded real animals. And that they might actually, because that's how realistic they looked at certain points, and it's like, maybe this is real animals. Maybe this is some National
Maybe they
Geographic.
actually trained these animals to speak.
But that's how good it looked. But I'll get to it later in the spoilers. It's a double-edged sword.
I had concerns that this movie wouldn't translate well into live action or photorealism, right? Which is technically not live action. Everything in the film is computer generated. Yeah. But The Lion King, the original being an animated film, right? I had a feeling that there would be issues translating that into into a photorealistic rendition, right? And the fact that they didn't show the animals in the trailer speaking to each other kind of like solidified a bit my theories.
Big old red flag.
Yeah, exactly. So now the movie comes out, we watch it, and I gotta say, it wasn't a major problem, but I feel like it did detract from your emotional connection to what was happening on the screen, right?
Yes.
I feel like since they look so realistic, it doesn't let you connect with the animals on the level that the animation does. Like you don't see the characters' facial expressions. You don't see it on the same level that you would, right? Like they can barely emote. Like a lion is a lion, right? Like I'd say they have the same face.
You don't say.
A lion is a lion. The more you know.
If you're gonna remake a classic movie, then you have to remake it with either the idea that you're gonna make it better, or you're gonna add something to it to make it stand out. Not so much that it's a whole new thing. Yeah. But make it stand out, make it its own thing.
Stand on its own feet. Right.
And I think that this movie did not do that at all. This movie was literally copy, paste.
I agree.
This is literally the exact same thing, shot for shot. And like you said about the photorealism, the live action, I don't think it translated well.
Now, I enjoyed watching this movie. I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored watching it, like you said.
I was legit looking at my watch.
I was not.
Like, when is something different gonna happen? It's literally line for line.
Okay, I wasn't bored.
I was disappointed.
But I was watching it, and I was thinking, there is nothing in this movie that adds anything to this story. There is no reason for this movie to exist. Period. It's just it's the most unnecessary film of all time.
Just the voice cast. The Do you remember the time when animated movies had actual voice actors? Not just people doing voices just because of their super famous Hollywood, superstars. No, they were actually voice actors. That was their whole shtick. Remember that? I was completely unimpressed with the voice acting.
Yeah.
With the exception of James Earl Jones, but you can tell he's getting old. He sounded more tired. He sounded older.
Yeah.
But he still was the best voice actor in the entire cast. Everyone else, I was completely unimpressed.
I would disagree.
I didn't like Beyonce.
Yeah, Beyonce was...
I didn't like Scar. I didn't like... I know you liked it. I didn't like Timon. I think it was an act of injustice towards Timon. Nathan Lane is rolling over in his grave now.
He's not even dead.
Well, when he dies, he's gonna roll over.
Jesus, you're ridiculous.
Nope.
I agree with you that most of the voice acting was definitely uninspired.
Don't diss Timon like that, dude.
I love Timon. Oh my god. The whole point of the movie is not necessarily to pick an actor that sounds exactly like the other one. No, that's not what's gonna make it good.
Yeah,
it's
but
another
he didn't even
voice
come
actor.
Close.
It's another voice actor.
He didn't even make it his own.
Yes, he did.
Just sounds basic.
No. Oh my god.
And I don't get me started on Seth Rogen.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna say something, and you're just gonna edit out my counter opinion to yours because you do that.
All right, let's see if it's true. Go.
Okay, you're 100.
All right, guys. Well, this has.
I feel the standouts of the voice cast were by far, and the movie, honestly, were Timon and Pumbaa. I felt that Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen.
But that's not saying much.
Right, because the movie is just okay. But I felt that Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa was an inspired choice. Because, let me tell you why. Billy Eichner, I've been a fan of him since he appeared on Parks and Rec. He's a hilarious character. His voice is funny. If you were to have seen the show, you would understand why I appreciate
I've seen him in other things.
But you got to see him in Parks. He's Crazy Craig. He's hilarious.
He's constantly on like Conan doing bits and stuff.
He does
I know
bits
he's
and stuff.
funny.
Yeah, he's funny. And I felt that his voice...
It was boring as Timon.
His voice fit perfectly into the role of Timon. You couldn't have Nathan Lane again. They weren't going to recast the same actor. You could have.
They brought back James Earl Jones and
because
Nathan
you can't
Lane
replace
was
Mufasa.
Fantastic as Timon.
I agree. Nathan Lane is still the best Timon. Okay.
One of the things that, besides the voice acting was just super basic, completely uninspired. I didn't like it. But
Oh my God.
Another thing, the lack of emotion in this movie, that's where the heart of a movie is. And when every character looks bored out of their mind, you're not going to be into it. I was not into it at all. I first saw the clip, the Hakuna Matata clip, and it was, instead of, remember the cartoon Hakuna Matata, da, 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 and then big ol' smile.
With it.
Big ol' smile on Simba's face, and in this movie it's like Hakuna Matata, da, na, na,
Because they
what
can't.
a wonderful phrase. It reminds me of Scrubs. I don't know if you're familiar with Scrubs. Dr. Cox's wife gets Botox.
Show me happy, sad, silly, amused, bemused, seamused.
That's exactly how it felt.
Well, that's the double-edged sword of the photorealistic take on these characters.
Exactly. That's why I was saying it. But then don't do it. If it doesn't translate
But
well,
there's too much
in
money
real
to
life,
be made. Too much money. Disney's not gonna. I'm here. I know what it's Disney shill. I'm chilling for Disney tonight. I agree with you. The photorealistic take was more a detriment than a positive to the film overall, I would say. At least to the story and characters itself.
All right, guys. Now we're going into spoiler territory. You have been officially warned. This is your spoiler warning. I briefly wanted to get into some of the differences because we said it's kind of a copy and paste. They do change things up a tiny bit.
Barely.
One of the big additions to the movie
is extremely detailed CGI poop. You're
what
right.
a horrible scene, dude. The scene, Simba lies down, his tuft of fur goes flying off, and then there's this 5-minute montage of the freaking fur's journey.
I get what they were going for.
Stupid.
They were going for the whole circle of life thing because the tuft goes and the bird puts it in its nest, and then then the giraffe eats it, and I was like, what? And then the giraffe, then the giraffe poops it. I was like, what is happening? then the dung beetle, and I was like, oh, okay, I get what they're going for the circle of life, right?
Circle of life.
But okay, continue.
I was half expecting Rafiki to smell the fur and be like, oh. And then counter to that new addition, there's a subtraction, which was by far their biggest mistake. How are you gonna take one of the best villain songs of all time and you're gonna shorten it to like a little 1 minute thing that sucks?
It wasn't even a song. It wasn't even a proper song. It was like
a spoken word.
Yeah, it was
minute with some pretty cool sounding music, but that's it. You're gonna show us the life and journey of a tuft of hair rolling around in poop, but you're gonna remove one of the best villain songs of all time?
Where are our Nazi hyenas?
Yes, that's like the symbolism in the cartoon. It's just great. It's like this, you could tell this fool's evil.
Right.
Look, he's commanding Nazi hyenas.
Yes, I agree. No, that was one of the biggest mistakes in the movie.
Yeah.
To add to that list of mistakes, there was one moment that I was like, I sadly missed this moment, and I don't even understand why it makes no sense that they removed this scene from the movie when it's one of the strongest emotional beats in the original film, in
With
my
Rafiki?
opinion. The scene with Rafiki when he hits him with the stick over the head, right?
The past is now gone.
Yeah, he's literally teaching him a lesson. He's like,
the lesson of the movie.
That's the entire
the
point.
lesson of the Lion King.
That's the entire theme of the Lion King, right? He's like, you can. What does he say? You can like.
You could run from it,
or you could learn from it, right?
Ah, see, and
fantastic moment.
No,
fantastic.
We need to add more poop fur. We can't have lessons that children can learn.
I couldn't believe they removed that. It made no sense to remove that scene. Also, why was there not a proper Mufasa in the sky in that scene? Instead, it was like just some gray cloud where you could barely even really make out what it's just the faintest silhouette of Mufasa. But it's like you couldn't even really appreciate it. You know, it's like
it was not
the photorealistic take. It's just I don't know if it's worth it.
It doesn't translate well.
I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't think so. They did add 2 new scenes of Nala trying to escape Pride Rock in order to go find help.
Right.
Which was okay, I guess. We could have done without it.
Mm-hmm.
But I go back to the same thing. Why are you gonna be adding these scenes that don't make sense? Or I guess they do make sense, but why are you gonna be adding these scenes that are not necessary and remove the best villain, one of the best Disney villain songs, and such a classic, iconic learning moment between Simba and Rafiki?
I agree.
Some of the creative choices, like if you're gonna copy and paste,
do it properly.
And paste the good stuff too.
Yeah.
Don't take all the good stuff out.
Yeah.
The songs were nowhere near as good as the original.
Right.
It was like too similar to almost the exact same thing, but it still lacked that magic, mainly because not only are the renditions of the songs kind of just cheaper in general, but the person or the people singing it can't even show emotion during the song.
The characters don't show emotion.
Yeah.
I felt that the young Simba and Nala were pretty good voice actors. I felt
Here's the thing though, I couldn't even tell the difference between them. If I'm perfectly honest, there were certain scenes where Nala and Simba were rolling around. I couldn't tell the difference which one was Nala and which one was Simba. The last fight at the end of the movie between Scar and Simba, half the battle, I couldn't tell which one was Scar and which one was...
That part I actually liked, though. No, that part I like. You could tell they did enough to differentiate specifically Scar and Simba.
Dude. Especially nighttime, it's raining, there's a big fire burning. You can't tell who's who.
Maybe you should check your prescription. I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the only parts of the movie one of the few parts of the movie that I was like, dang, this looks awesome. Was that last lion scene where they're fighting, where him and Scar are fighting. I was like, that, because in the original movie, when it goes slow motion and they're fighting, whatever, right? It's like the slow motion back then, like it just looked kind of funny. It looked a little bit off.
Like it was skipping frames.
Exactly, yeah. Like the technology wasn't there yet for that, you know? But now with the photorealism and the slow motion and them looking like actual real lions fighting each other, I was like, I felt it was more impressive. I was like, dang, that was pretty awesome. That scene I actually enjoyed. But I understand what you mean about not being able to differentiate. Like, the one character from another, specifically like the lionesses, right? Like Sarabi versus like Nala, and like all the other, like they all kind of just blended in. All right, guys. So we have some viewer mini reviews for you.
If you guys want to do your own mini reviews, that will appear on our episodes. Make sure to check us out on Instagram and on Facebook. Look for the spoiler chat image, and then just type in your mini review. All right, so our first mini viewer review comes from Katsumi Nidome. He says, I give it 2 out of 5 stars. It's missing something that the original one had. First off, the humor wasn't there. They tried to make it too dark, then the pacing felt a little off. Like when Simba and Nala see each other again and then they start the love song. I'm thinking, aren't they seeing each other for the first time in years? How are they in love already? He finishes with, I did like the animation though. It looked very good.
I guess it does technically count as animation.
It was
still an animated film.
And I kind of agree. They kind of rushed the love scene a little bit.
Yeah.
But then again, like, who cares about lions falling in love?
Well, that's the thing. You're supposed to care about these characters.
We did care about them in the cartoon.
Yeah. You're supposed to care about these characters, right? That's the whole point of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I gotta say, I agree with most of what he said as well. I felt the comic relief characters that were in the movie, they were serviceable, like I already mentioned earlier. There was even a couple lines where Zazu said something funny, and he had me laughing. But yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. So our last mini viewer review comes from Susie13. Hi, Susie. And she writes, I agree with Katsumi, and I didn't like the voice for Scar and Nala. Would give it a 3 out of 5. Loved all the animals though. But they weren't real animals.
That's true. There were technically no animals.
Pixels.
Very
3D
true.
Renders.
I'll agree with her though, as far as the voice actor for Scar, leaving much to be desired in comparison to Jeremy Irons. Much to be desired. So
definitely.
I agree with you there, Suze.
So thank you guys for your mini reviews.
Closing thoughts. Perhaps the most unnecessary movie ever made.
Yeah.
It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. I enjoyed it while I was watching it. It's a good way to pass a couple hours if you're bored, right? I don't know if I would recommend to watch it in the movie theaters. Maybe just to see like the visual aspect of the film, like on the big screen.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was gonna say too.
But I wouldn't. It's not like something you need to run out and go see.
If you're like a die-hard fan of The Lion King, where like the music starts and you're already crying and the nostalgia and like it's your world, you'll probably like it.
Yeah, but you know what I gotta say in closing, I was expecting to be moved more by this movie than I was in the end.
I was expecting like to shed a tear. Maybe
this movie, The Lion King, in my opinion, is one of the most emotional Disney movies that they've made, especially of like their classics. I rewatched the original recently. And I was like, frog in my throat at all those beats, the Mufasa scene, the Simba coming back as an adult and climbing Pride Rock, right? Like, I was like, the music, the scores, Hans Zimmer's score, right? I don't even think it was Hans Zimmer who did the score for this, because it sounded similar, but
he's credited.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's the same score technically, but it sounded worse than the original, in my opinion. It didn't sound as good. So closing... It was good. It was okay. Unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. The original is still miles better.
I think it was unnecessary. I was thoroughly disappointed. We need to go back to the days when we hire voice actors. That's their job. Their job is to voice act, because that's what they rather do. If we're gonna go out and get these like superstar celebrities from movies and stuff and bring them in just because of the star power, the power of the name behind the voice, it's not gonna come out good. You need people that are trained in voice acting, like in the good old days, and I think that would have made a world of difference in this movie had they actually got seasoned voice actors. I honestly don't even think I would recommend this movie. Like, it's the same crap. If you want to see The Lion King,
the original is crap.
Yeah, with a tuft of fur in it.
Okay.
It's the same thing. If you want to see The Lion King, watch the original. There's no need for you to rush out and go watch this movie. If they're playing it for free on TV in the future, you want to kill a few hours, you might be bored, I think. Watch it.
If you-
I have no desire to see it again. I kind of want to rewatch Aladdin already.
I do want to watch it again. As
I
well.
have zero desire to rewatch this Lion King.
The only reason I would rewatch this movie is to see the perfect take on the Timon character.
Oh my god.
But aside from
Cut.
that,
Cut.
all right, guys. So these were our thoughts on the Lion King. Let us know what you guys thought in the comments below. Check us out on the social medias, and we hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out.